Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We get to hear from the third witch today in Act 4, Scene 1 of Macbeth. So things are getting exciting. People are kind of dying left and right. Macbeth has become king because he killed his way to get there, and he also killed Banquo, who was suspicious of him because he and Banquo both heard prophecies together, but theoretically Banquo's kids are going to become kings and not Macbeth's kids are going to become kings. But Macbeth has decided that he's going to go and visit the witches again because he wants to find out what other fun prophecies they might have for him so that he knows what to do with his life. And meanwhile, suspicion around Macbeth specifically is growing a bit more. Macduff went to England where Malcolm, who's the eldest son of Duncan and who was named the rightful heir to the throne, is hiding out and has the support of King Edward of England, and they are getting ready to attack, and Macbeth is preparing for war, and Duncan's other son, Donalbain, is in Ireland, and Lennox is suspicious of the whole thing, and yeah, so things are rather in turmoil right now. So we start out Act 4 with the witches brewing up some turmoil, and I am sure that at some point in your life you have heard double, double, toil and trouble, cauldron burn and fire bubble, right? That's it. That it's part of the chant that the witches are chanting at this point as they are brewing up a potion or a stew or a tempest or however you want to stage this particular little bit. Oftentimes there's a cauldron and they're throwing in the things, and one of the witch lists off a bunch of things, and then all of them say double, double, toil and trouble, cauldron burn and fire burn and cauldron bubble. That's it. Fire doesn't bubble, cauldrons bubble. Fire burn and cauldron bubble. And they're going along, they do a couple rounds of that. And then the third witch lists off a few more things, one of which I'm apologizing in advance is incredibly inappropriate and very not politically correct in today's society. And I apologize to any and all who are offended by it. I feel weird having to say it. It is part of the language of this particular thing and speaks to the stereotypes that they believed in at the time. So take that and do whatever you will with it. Know that I am offended by it, and I'm offended by it on behalf of the people who it represents. So anyway, they're brewing up a potion, double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, and the third witch says, scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw, and gulf, of the raven sea salt shark, root of hemlock, digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat, and slips of yew, slivered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk, and Tartar's lips, finger of birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the grewell thick and slab, add thereto a tiger's chaudron for the ingredients of our cauldron. And then they all say again, double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble. So yeah, you probably heard the thing. And really, it's not that exciting of a monologue. It's just listing off a bunch of things. I do think that it's interesting in some of the other bits that the witches are, some of the other ingredients that they're pulling in. They put in like a tongue of a frog, but then an adder's fork, which would also be the tongue of a snake. So anyway, it feels like a lot of it to me was put together just to rhyme and to list off some body parts and some scary animals. But I think some of this stuff is what people got all upset about when Shakespeare wrote this play originally, thinking that this was an actual spell and an actual potion that could be brewed to do things. They thought that this was actual witchcraft going on stage, which leads to the curse, which I told you about when we first started working on Macbeth and all that sort of fun thing. So whether or not these ingredients come together to create something, I have no idea. I would not encourage you to go out looking for all of these ingredients because finding somebody's liver is a little gross and probably very illegal, amongst other things. There's also a Turkish person's nose thrown in there, which is not pleasant at all. So anyway, they make this cauldron, and Hecate, who was mad at them before because they didn't let her in on the original messing with Macbeth, is there, and she's like, okay, good job everybody, well done, all right, now let's make the curse actually happen. And they sing and dance around the cauldron, and then the other line that you've probably heard a bajillion times is, by the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. And that's how that whole conjuring sequence ends, and the something wicked that is this way coming turns out to be Macbeth, because remember, he's coming to seek some counsel. So tomorrow we'll get to see how all of that goes. I'll see you then.